Ladies and gentlemen, we're back!
And on today's episode, Ethan might himself. And I will drink tea. But all that to come. Now,
We have the introduction of a man behind the camera who's going to help us with some fact checking, keeping us on track in case we inevitably
wander.
go on a tangent. Yeah, and that man behind the camera is our good friend Hawk. Like I say, he's going to keep us in line while we go through all of that. But what have we been up to, mate? Why don't we tell everyone we're still in Ho Chi Minh City.
Well, we're back.
We are back
in Ho Chi Minh City. To be specific, we went slightly north to the Cu Chi tunnels, and then we headed very south to the mouth of the Mekong. And we spent a couple of nights in Can Thao, I believe it is.
Can Thao.
It's the largest city in southern Vietnam. And from there we explored a bit of the Mekong.
Yeah.
Visited a few islands.
A couple of boats, a bit of local food. Some very interesting places, some very interesting things that we've seen. We'll start from the start, I think.
Yep.
Where's the start? The Cu Chi tunnels. So we had to get on a bus with a couple of other people. It wasn't packed, but there was a couple of other people. We had to drive, hour and a half, 2 hours north to, all the tunnelling and some of the old war monuments. Yeah. Very interesting. Small.
The tunnel or the space?
The tunnel. The space is huge.
Very large, it turns
huge.
out. Turns out it's the largest province around Ho Chi Minh City. And when we rocked up, you could tell, like, the forest section there is unlike what's in the city. It's actually quite dense. And we got taken around. We had a good look. We got a bit of footage from us actually going through the tunnels.
These tunnels, to give you a bit of an idea, what were they, about
1.2,
1.3
by about our shoulders.
By about our shoulders, yeah. Which for me, being about 6'1", wasn't particularly comfortable.
See, I think that they built just the right size tunnels.
Yeah,
I think that it was quite dynamic.
You're 5'6".
It was
mate,
ergonomic.
So.
You could sit down there for many hours, play cards, not with great comfort.
Not with great comfort.
But I would be comfortable.
And it was warm. It was a sauna down there. Because it's hot in general.
Oxygen
here at the moment.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably 34, 35 degrees when we've gone in.
In those
Sticky
tunnels.
as anything because we're in the jungle. And in those tunnels, warm.
We're
Warm.
talking
I came out sweating. But really interesting to see the way that they've done it. And they've made it so that it zigzags everywhere so that you can't just go down and shoot in a straight line at someone. You have to weave your way through everything. Multiple different points of entry and exit. Some really tight spaces in there as well, designed to slow people down if they are coming through.
Would definitely recommend to visit.
Absolutely.
It's definitely a good visiting point. It's worth the trip. It's inexpensive, especially if you're on a budget as a traveller. And it takes up a good afternoon.
It was a 6-hour trip for us. We got on the bus at 1 o'clock? And we got home until about 7:30.
Yeah, definitely.
Long time. But very, very interesting. They had some of the old weaponry there as well that you could fire.
Yep.
You just had to pay for the bullets to be able to shoot them.
Yeah.
But there was a couple of those there. They had various different weaponry as well.
At $4 a bullet, as far as bullet prices go, a bit expensive.
Yes, we decided we'd steer clear of that.
Yeah.
But many people were quite interested in it. You can't blame them. Not everyone has gone shooting before. Not everyone's been able to shoot a gun, especially something like that, which would have been used during the war.
So then we headed down, back through Ho Chi Minh City, and headed down south to the mouth of the Mekong. And we visited the largest city in southern Vietnam. And I guess to sum it up, it was very French.
Yeah, it was very French. It was a lot more modern looking as well than a lot of the places that we've seen around Ho Chi Minh. Slightly more expensive as well, I'd say. I definitely saw more tourists in the area that we were, but we did go on a tour down there. So the place that we were staying was quite central in the tourist area because we paid for that. But I definitely saw a lot more tourists, even in the areas where we sort of went walking. That was just slightly rogue. There was still quite a lot of tourists around there.
And we visited the Mekong, visited a fish farm down there, and we sailed on I guess it's not a sailing boat, we putted along on the Mekong, and we had a local slowly row us up a few of a side estuary, and I gotta say, it's an impressive setup, the Mekong. It's definitely
phenomenal.
Somewhere.
It is phenomenal. Yeah. How many species of fish were in it again? Well, we might have to get you to fact check this one.
Yeah, we're going to claim over 75.
It was a lot. I assume over 75. It's a big system.
We'll get back to you with the facts on that one.
Yeah, it's literally, that's how they get to school as well.
Yeah, he was telling us, our guide was telling us that for a long time, the river system was the only way that people would get around. They were saying it takes about 3 days to get from Kampala into Ho Chi Minh, and a lot of people would be doing that. They'd make the ventures of carrying all sorts of stuff, food, any clothes, anything.
Well, we've got to say, we crossed at least a dozen bridges.
Yeah.
Like, when I say there was a lot of bridges, I mean, you would have had to use a boat back in the day because of how wide all the rivers were. These aren't small bridges.
No.
They have about 850 types of freshwater fish.
850 types of freshwater fish. It's a phenomenal.
Above 75
river system. Above 75.
That's for sure. But I got to say, the varying size of those fish as well, like just at the fish farm alone.
Fantastic.
Like you had catfish, and then we had little fish eat our feet, which Ethan thoroughly enjoyed.
Hated it. Absolutely hated it.
And they were probably only this big.
Yeah, I mean, they had, what did they have there? They probably had 15, 16 different types of fish just there.
Baby koi fish.
They were baby koi fish, and they were very small. But they were throwing some of the feed in for us, and they go absolutely nuts. They were kicking me off everywhere.
Yeah, we'll overlay some of them. We'll give you a look.
Yeah, we'll show some footage of that because that was phenomenal. Loads of different stuff to do. They prepare it in loads of different ways. We actually ate catfish, which for me was the first time, and I wasn't for you. Very bony.
Well, if you take a bite out of the bone of the rib cage, it will be bony.
I suppose so.
But I guess that's down to personal experience.
Yeah, it was interesting though, the way that the meat changed so much, both in terms of flavour and texture, depending on how they cooked it.
Think about it. We had a fish stew with it in it, and it was boiled.
Yeah.
Now, that wasn't up my alley. What do you reckon it tasted like? Kind of rubbery, almost?
It was kind of like, when you have, like, the beef balls, pork balls, whatever they
Yeah,
are. It was that sort of texture to it. It was rubbery.
But then, in that, like, little
the hot
pot that was there, it was soft.
Really nice.
Fell apart in your chopsticks.
Really, really nice, that was.
Yeah.
We've had some pretty phenomenal food over the last couple of days.
Because the other thing, we had the snake head fish.
Yeah, had a whole one.
Yeah, whole one kind of grilled.
We'll throw in a picture of that as well. Yeah, I'd say baked, probably.
Baked, yeah, and that was soft, falling apart, really nice.
It was really nice.
It was a tasty fish.
Yeah, it was really nice. We got some, actually, speaking of that, we actually got to make our own Vietnamese pancakes with the local woman. Yeah. Just took it. So it didn't speak a lick of English.
No.
It was a lot of pointing and nodding and yes and that sort of stuff,
and correcting when we stuffed up.
Which was pretty much always.
Pretty regular.
Pretty much always.
Our resident chef, however.
Our resident chef behind the camera, he turned it on pretty well.
He showed us how to cook an omelette.
Me, not so much.
Someone had to throw the meal everywhere.
Yes, but really nice. Like, unbelievable. And we noticed such a difference because we tried one again in the hotel that we stayed in on the tour, and it was nowhere near as nice.
Didn't have anywhere near as many flavours.
No, absolutely. To
to think these people, the people that we had it at originally, they weren't going to the supermarket. This was all stuff that they would have grown and had locally.
Yeah, this was all like while we're sitting there having lunch, we're seeing all their chickens just walk around, and we're thinking to ourselves, that's lunch in the next couple of days, you know.
Yeah.
But that, you know, that's the way that you got to do it.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was fantastic. That's the way that you got to do it here, I guess.
Yeah, we've got a lot of footage coming out of Vietnam in the future weeks, and a lot of videos that will be over on the Internationalist, the main channel. But I think that's a good update of what we've been up to.
Yeah.
Now time for my personal favourite segment, pet peeve of the week. Would you like to kick us off with a nice pet peeve?
Yeah, I'm going to kick us off.
Go.
Now, I understand that when you come to places like this, people rely on tourists for their money. I get it. It makes perfect sense. And I don't mind the odd, hi, how are you? Have you tried this? Do you want me to show you? That's fine. I have a big issue with when people in general try to prevent you from walking past to get into their restaurant.
Yes.
We've walked up the main strip around here quite a few times for a feed, just as we're heading out into the city to see some of the monuments. And without fail, every time you walk along there, they're in your face, they're in your way, they're touching you, they're grabbing you, they're pushing you, whatever. Frustrates me beyond belief. And again, I understand that that's how they make their money.
But
there's a nice way to do it.
yeah, don't touch me and don't impede my way.
Don't touch me or get in my way, yeah. Because then you walk into someone and you feel like you're the bad person because you walked into them, but they've stepped into your path to try and push you into the restaurant.
Yeah.
So just don't.
Yeah.
Just don't. That's mine. And I like I say, I get it. They have to make their money that way.
Yeah.
But it irritates me.
Well,
It really does.
slight change of pace, my one. My pet peeve of the week is potholes. Now,
Okay.
I understand that potholes are everywhere, and this will be a pet peeve over many, many trips. But we were in a very comfortable minivan with good suspension and comfortable seats.
Yeah.
And it was comfortable.
On main highways.
Spacious. Yeah, on the main interstate highway setup. And I don't know how to put it politely. I couldn't have an open drink.
No.
I would be very wet very quickly.
Yes.
We were going doodle. You were jumping, you were getting lift off in the van.
I think that's what poor Kitty said.
Yeah.
And when we were on our way back, how was it when you were trying to get us
Oh,
a nap?
I had 3 seats spread out, full height, trying to have a nap, and there's a little bar, and my head would go about this much up on the random potholes into your armrest.
Mm.
You always get air.
Yeah.
You would. I was the same when me and Paul were sitting in the seats that recline. Got my thing all the way back and lying there. I'm really nice and comfortable. Dunking up I go. Yeah. Done a nice little kick on the way back, and all of a sudden I was awake.
Yeah.
That tends to happen when you fall. You wake up.
Yes.
Mm.
But potholes. That's my pet peeve.
That's fair enough. And you'll see that pet peeve many, many times to come, I think, from one of us.
Next time, I might make it turbulence. The potholes of the air.
Potholes of the
air.
air.
But I think that wraps up.
I think that does
That
wrap up
pet
pet
peeve
peeve of the week.
Moving on, what was your favourite part, do you think, about the Mekong and the Canto and meeting the locals?
The locals are always good content.
Yeah.
There's always so much that you can learn and see from them. We got taught how to make the little
cake boxes.
Yeah, the little cake boxes out of palm leaves.
Yeah.
Tricky.
Yeah.
I was struggling.
I needed two people.
I had to get a lot of help from the fellow who was taking us through it. But really interesting, really cool to see. Went through a couple of the coconut farms, which I'm a big coconut fan, so I was enjoying that quite a lot. And the bloke who was doing that, he was interesting to talk to. Knew his way around a machete.
Yeah, he had all his fingers.
That was for sure. Yeah, I always take great confidence when I see a man with all his fingers chopping my coconut.
Oh.
But that was I think it has to be the locals, whether or not it's getting food from them, just having a chat with them through the translator. or
Yes.
or it's them showing you what they do for a living and all their setups. The fellow was taking us through his water buffalo,
Yep.
which was cool,
And his bird.
and his bird, which he called Fly,
Why do you call it fly?
because it landed on a buffalo's back or something like that, wasn't
Oh,
That's the fly.
Yeah.
it?
That's the flies. Yeah. No, you're not wrong. That's definitely a peak. Like, really great thing. I think my favourite thing has to be, since you've already covered the people, it has to just be being on the water. Like, the
Yeah.
Mekong isn't a particularly rough body of water, but it's really naturally beautiful. Like, going up the side estuaries, so well covered, and then going along the main bits of the Mekong and also Pearl River, I think we're on Pearl on the second day. There was the floating market on there.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Just seeing people going about their daily life, and we're just kind of going through the middle of it as if we don't really exist, is a really enjoyable thing. Like, we were seeing cranes on barges moving sand, and then you had a market next to, and then you had, the water police come up the middle.
Yeah,
When you say market, it's literally they come up to your boat.
Yeah.
it's less of a market. As we were just cruising down the strip, you get people selling all sorts, coming out and trying to, and selling you whatever. Our guide was telling us that they get a big bamboo stick and stick it on the back of their boat, and whatever they attach to that stick, that's what they're selling. So we're saying all different manner of fruit and vegetables and meats and fish and everything there. Jumped on and had a little bit of a stroll around some of the actual connected barges. That's it was showing us how they make the rice noodles. Using different colours from different fruits. Went through some other dried fish stuff. Some their beer snacks here are slightly different to the beer snacks that we get at home.
It's not peanuts.
It's not peanuts. No, it's crispy frog.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Still here, mind
really
you.
nice, and it goes very well with the beer.
Yeah, it would catch on.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's just so vastly different to what we're used to at home. It was so nice to see and just be part of and involved in the way that people live here.
100%.
Do you have any travel recommendations?
Travel recommendations segment.
Yeah, alright. This week, I reckon one travel recommendation, and it's going to be Vietnam specific on... Actually, no, it's kind of Southeast Asia specific on this one. Is when you are crossing roads, learn how to cross with the traffic. Don't stick your hand out and try stop motorbikes and cars and the locals going about their day. Just go with it. Like, learn how to cross. Take a couple of minutes. Take it in. Make sure you're the right way, which is left, not right.
Yeah, that's
and
confusing.
Then cross.
Yeah, just have a little bit of confidence, mate. Especially in Ho Chi Minh. One of the big things that we've noticed walking around is that when you go to cross a road, people just go around it on their scooters. They slow down a little bit because they can see that we're clearly not from here.
But they have confidence.
Yeah, and as long as we keep a steady pace and keep going, they can predict where we're going to be. They can go around us. It's dead simple. It's a really it's a collaborative effort when you cross a road here.
100%.
I think mine is going to be go on rogue solo missions.
Yeah.
With every single one of us at various points have just sort of wandered off of an evening, gone and found something interesting to do, some people to speak to, whether it's food, whether it's just you go for a drink, whether you just wander around and see if you can have a chat with some of the locals.
Yeah.
Go and do it because it's so much more eye-opening and interesting than strolling around the touristy parts. Me and Paul went for one last night. We just wandered off down the road, took a couple of lefts, took a couple of rights, ended up in a restaurant, had a quick look at what I say restaurant, it was some seats out the front of someone's house, really.
Yeah.
But there were a couple of people there, so we sat down, we had some eel, we had some rabbit, we had some seafood noodles, a couple of beers, and then we strolled back home, but we weren't back until, 1 o'clock. Had no idea where we were, had to get the maps back up, but it's a story, never tried eel before, never had rabbit before. So I got two new experiences just by taking a couple of rights and lefts, and they're things that I'm not going to forget, so as often as you can, go for some solo missions.
I think a big one on that is don't be scared of where you are because it is foreign. Like, of course, you got to be self-aware and aware of what's going on around you, and not to go into places where you're probably not going to be welcome, because at the end of the day, you are a foreigner, you're not always welcome everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
But go get those experiences. Don't be stuck on some internet page which tells you everything is scary and everything is out to get you when you're traveling to a foreign country.
Absolutely, because in actual fact, the things that are out to get you are like there's so many. What's the word I'm looking for? There's so few of them in comparison to the good things that you can go and find.
And if you're sensible and not looking for trouble, it's probably not going to find you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And most people, they're happy to help you out.
Exactly.
Most people are nice. They're sound. You get around just about wherever you want, honestly.
Yeah.
Is there anything you would bring back home to Australia?
I've got to say, kind of building off my recommendation, I would get rid of the whole waiting at traffic lights, because we got half as many people in Melbourne, and I think that people should just be able to cross the road.
I think that all the time when I've got to stand and wait at a crossing, I think to myself, I'm 21 years old. If I can't cross a road by now, I've got bigger problems.
Yeah, something.
If I can't cross a road by myself. So, and we're going to trouble for jaywalking there.
Yeah,
as well. So
you can get fined.
Yeah, but like I say, I'm 21. I'm pretty sure I know how to cross a road. Whereas here, you can't. You just walk.
You have to.
You do have to. There's at some major intersections. There's the occasional
green man.
Yeah, green man, but it's not. You're not obliged.
Yeah, no, exactly.
You go when you feel comfortable.
What do you bring back?
I think it has to be food. I think it has to be the food.
Yeah.
It's clean, it's healthy, it's incredibly tasty. It's all locally sourced for the most part, especially living in Ho Chi Minh or anywhere on the Mekong. Seafood, it's all locally sourced. It's just the best thing. The best thing here. We've had so many fantastic eats since we've been here. Not just on the food tour that we went on, but just strolling around. Like I said, what I did last night, we found some phenomenal things as well.
I think on the opposite, something that I would leave here, and this is a lot of countries that it doesn't get to me. It's kind of just where the country's at in its development. Is clean water. We take it for granted that I can just stroll to my tap, brush my teeth with the water, and fill my water bottle up. I think in countries where I can't drink the tap water, I drink less water on average.
I tend to agree. The moment you look at it and you go, I have to spend X amount for a bottle of water, you end up just buying a beer. Because it's probably cheaper to buy a beer than it is to buy water, so you end up drinking beer.
So for perspective here we've found beer for 82 cents a can.
63, I think.
Oh, sorry, there you go.
60 odd cent Australian cents for a bottle of beer.
Cheapest bottle of water in Australia, AUD, is about $1 or 14,000.
Yeah.
So it's about $1. So beer is literally cheaper than water here.
Yeah. So it's. We certainly haven't drunk as much water as we do at home.
Exactly.
Since we've been here.
And what are you keeping here? What's not coming on the flight home? Apart from your backpack. Maybe.
I think it'll have to be what I said before in regarding to people trying to pull you into restaurants and things like that. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Back home, and it's quite peaceful. I just think to myself, if I'm going to go into your establishment, I'm going to go in on my own accord. And when you try and push me in there, I'm actually less likely to go in.
Yeah.
So I think I'd leave that.
And I think you've built on a good point here. To build off that would be tipping. Like, we don't come from a culture which tips.
No.
Here, it's kind of like almost like when we're out, people were saying, "Oh, you could give her," like they were insinuating that you should tip.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but if you come from a culture that it's very foreign to tip, it's actually kind of awkward or uncomfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I think tipping to me is a reward for a good service of some description.
Yes.
Whereas here, it's customary to just do it for a job done. And I
Yeah.
think if it's a job well done, like down at our local place,
Yep.
where the food's really good, the people are really nice, they're really accommodating to us and have been all week. We've gone in quite a few times.
Yeah.
That's a point where I'm happy to go, yeah, absolutely. Like I say, they've been fantastic to us down there.
Yeah.
So then I'm more than happy to keep the change, tip whoever served us, whatever it is.
Exactly.
But on something where it's I've turned up, they've just done a job.
Yeah, which they were going to do regardless.
Yeah, I end up thinking to myself, I don't really want to.
Yeah.
I don't really want to. But then again, we come from a much richer society and culture than these people here, so it is a bit of a
It's just a different
difference.
expectation.
It is
because
a bit-
America, you on the flip, you got America, the richest country in the world, yet the staff don't get paid properly and you have to tip. They're
Yeah.
relying on tips.
Yeah.
So it's just a cultural difference which I don't really align with.
No, and that's absolutely fair enough. Anyway, I think that'll just about wrap it up for today's podcast. There'll be plenty of Vietnam content over on the Internationalist if you do want to go check it out. I would definitely recommend it. There's some seriously interesting and seriously beautiful stuff, at least from our perspective.
And it will keep coming. There's plenty
It will
of it.
keep coming. Yeah, we'll crack out quite a few videos from this trip alone, and we've got quite a lot planned, as we said in the last episode, for when we are back in Melbourne, which unfortunately is in about 2 days.
Yeah, that means next week's episode will be coming to you from Melbourne. Melbourne. And we'll teach you how to pronounce Melbourne correctly. Using all the M's.
Can't spell, can't talk, receding hairline, 5'6". What can he do? Anyway,
Find out next time.
Thank you guys very much for listening and or watching, whatever platform you are viewing it on, and we will catch you in the next one. See you later.
Enjoy.